All right, welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. It's funny. Sometimes we get these listener questions that really, I don't know, they kind of stop you in your tracks.
Oh,
And today's is definitely one of those. We're diving into the Buddhist perspective on the afterlife. And, a listener wrote in with a really thought-provoking question. We're going to unpack all of that today.
absolutely. This is a huge topic,
Yeah.
The afterlife, it's something everyone wonders about at some point. And the source material we have is really interesting. The speaker starts by talking about this very direct question that they received. It was, let me see if I can get this right, or OU,
Well, I'm not even going to try that one.
which basically translates to, I was hoping you could talk about the afterlife.
Mhm.
And it came from a place of, real sorrow. It sounds like there was a recent tragedy, someone falling from a window, and it really prompted this deep question.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you can definitely feel that weight behind the question. Like this urgency to understand. But I was kind of surprised that the speaker didn't just jump right into an explanation of, what Buddhists believe about the afterlife.
Right, right. And I think that's super important because it actually speaks to a really fundamental idea in Buddhism. The speaker even asks, Sana lo haf, are we in the afterlife now or are we in the pre-life?
Wow.
Which, when you think about it, really brings the focus back to the present moment.
I see what you mean. It's like, where is our attention right here, right now? Or are we always caught up in what was or what might be?
Exactly. And it feeds into this idea that Buddhism is, as the speaker calls it, a really realistic philosophy and discipline. I love the analogy they use here about a debt in a dream. Like if you dream that you owe someone money, you don't wake up feeling like you have to actually pay them, right?
It's so true. I've had dreams like that where I'm like scrambling to find cash and then I wake up and I'm like, oh, thank goodness that wasn't real.
Right. It's a great way to illustrate why questions about the afterlife, which is ultimately outside our current experience, aren't necessarily the main focus. The emphasis is more on understanding and working with what is right here, right now.
So it's not about ignoring these big questions, but more about grounding ourselves in the present.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, the speaker does go on to address how we should think about those who have passed away, which I think is really comforting. And they use this image of Buddhist prayer beads, the thew and also the Christian rosary, the horn.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar with those. But how does that relate to, death and what happens after?
So the speaker uses these strings of beads as a way to understand the nature of the self. Each bead represents a single physical body. And just like each bead on a string is separate, so too are our physical bodies across different lifetimes, or even different stages of this life. They're all distinct.
So each bead is like a snapshot, almost, of a physical form at a particular point in time.
Exactly, which is why, the speaker points out we don't remember our past lives. Because the me of a past life and the me of now are completely different.
It's like each bead is a totally unique expression. So where does the string come in, the araga?
Ah, that's the key. The string represents the spirit, the mind, the ire. It's what connects all these seemingly separate physical manifestations, threading through them all. And the speaker emphasizes that just like the string inside the beads is hidden, our mind, our consciousness is also unseen, while our physical body is what we can see and touch.
I'm starting to get it. It's like the string is the constant while the beads are the temporary, ever-changing form.
Exactly. And then, just when you think you've got it, the speaker throws in this really vivid image of, the fish-shaped bread.
Okay, yeah, I'm picturing it. What's the connection there?
So the Ojo analogy is meant to show how our thoughts, even though they seem connected, are actually kind of like individual and separate. The speaker says, Nemaja, Yojan, Imina. Our thoughts are each separate. They're not connected.
Each one is like a distinct little fish-shaped bread popping in and out of existence.
Exactly. It's this constant flux, this arising and passing away. And it's not just our physical bodies that are impermanent, but even our thoughts constantly changing, never staying the same.
So the beads are the temporary physical bodies, the string is the continuous mind, and the oja. Those are our fleeting thoughts.
You got it. And the speaker really drives home the point that this isn't about, giving us a detailed prediction of what happens after we die. It's about understanding the structure of you right now.
Okay, yeah, the present moment, that's the key. But speaking of death, I know the speaker also touches on how in Buddhism, it's not seen as complete annihilation. It's not just like lights out.
Right. They explain that from the Buddhist perspective, there is no death in the sense of total non-existence. It's more of a transition. The physical body breaks down, but the underlying spirit or mind continues to exist. Like waking up from a dream leads to reality, and falling asleep in reality leads to a dream.
A continuous cycle of different states of being. So then what about the wooden puppet analogy? That was a really powerful image.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. The speaker uses this analogy to further clarify the relationship between the body and the unseen consciousness. So picture this. A wooden puppet dancing gracefully, seemingly all on its own. But then the king gets angry because it looks like the puppet is gazing at the queen.
Okay, I can see the scene unfolding. The king's getting jealous.
Exactly. And here's the key part. The old man who's actually controlling the puppet, he removes a single pin, and suddenly the whole puppet collapses, just falls apart.
Wow, so the collapsing puppet, that's the physical body in this analogy.
Yeah. It's not acting on its own, right? It's being moved by unseen strings and the puppeteer's intention, which represents the mind. And removing the pin is like, well, death. The physical form is no longer able to function. But the speaker then connects this back to the initial tragic accident, saying, "Singusun, funek," to the eye. It's just color. Please see it that way.
It's such a different way of looking at things, not denying the sadness of death, but understanding that there's more to it than just the physical body ceasing to exist.
Precisely. There's a deeper reality at play. Okay, so that was the afterlife part. Then you had some really interesting questions about the meaning of life, especially since the speaker also talks about not trying to define the indefinable and not being overly serious. You even asked directly, "Hachong, yeah, no. Kinchon, so what is our life, really?"
Yeah, that whole part really got me thinking. It's like, if we shouldn't get bogged down in trying to define these big concepts, then how should we approach life?
Right, and that's where the speaker emphasizes balance and perspective. They actually use a story about a monk named Ananyula Kia to illustrate the dangers of getting too serious. You see, Ananyula got in trouble for falling asleep during some teachings, so he vowed to never sleep again. And, well, he ended up going blind from the effort.
Oh my gosh, that's a bit extreme, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty dramatic example, but the speaker uses it to show how dangerous it can be to pursue something with such intense focus that you lose sight of everything else. It's not about being lazy, but about recognizing that extreme seriousness can actually make you blind to the needs of those around you, to the things that really matter.
Like in that other story they told about the child covered in toilet paper.
Exactly. It's a heartbreaking image, right? The parents are so preoccupied, so caught up in their own stuff, that they completely miss their child's silent cry for attention.
And that ties into the idea of the needle and the thread, right?
Yes. The needle is like all our effort, our striving. But without the thread, a sense of meaning, connection, purpose, it's all just empty effort. Like Ananyula achieving his goal but losing his sight in the process. We can work so hard to achieve something, but if it's not connected to anything deeper, we end up feeling empty. Like, what was it all for?
And that's where the role of a teacher, a nuo, is so crucial. They can help us thread that needle, so to speak.
Absolutely. They provide guidance, perspective, help us connect our actions to something truly meaningful. They're like, "Hey, you're working so hard, but are you going in the right direction?"
Then the speaker mentioned something a senior monk, Yalan, said.
"Hey, why do you live as if you're punishing yourselves?" That really hit me hard.
It's a profound question, isn't it? We create so much suffering for ourselves by clinging to negativity, trying to control things we can't control. It's like we're constantly whipping ourselves, pushing ourselves, without ever stopping to appreciate the present moment. And that's such a core message in the speaker's words, right? It's not about achieving some future happiness, but about recognizing the goodness that's already here.
Yeah. The speaker says, and I'm going to try my best here, you go see go, agoza, jicha, you go, which basically means life isn't something you get just through effort, but I think we need to learn to see how grateful and happy we can be right now.
It's about shifting our perspective, opening our eyes to what's already present. It's pretty incredible, how the speaker brings all these different ideas together. And I think you made a really insightful comment about how even though they take a kind of roundabout way of answering questions, eventually everything converges and it all makes sense.
It's true. Their teaching style is definitely unique. And then, they gave their own personal definition of life, which I thought was beautiful. They said, "Akuzu, akisiful." Creating our memories, I think that's what life is.
Each moment, each experience contributes to the tapestry of who we are.
Exactly. And the quality of those memories, whether they're filled with joy or sorrow, shapes our inner world, our heart mind. So the focus shifts from just chasing some future happiness to actively creating beautiful memories right now in this very moment.
It's a powerful reminder to slow down, pay attention, and savor the beauty in the everyday.
Absolutely. You know, we covered a lot today, and I know some of these ideas can be pretty dense, but the main takeaways are that, from the Buddhist perspective, death isn't the end, but a transition. And instead of getting caught up in trying to define things like the afterlife, we should focus on understanding the present moment and cultivating a sense of gratitude for what we have.
Yeah, and that being overly serious can actually blind us to the richness of life and the needs of the people around us. And ultimately, the meaning of life isn't about achieving some big goal in the future, but about consciously creating our experiences and making beautiful memories in the here and now. So as you go about your day, think about your own needle and thread. Are your efforts leading to genuine connection and fulfillment? Or are you maybe so focused on a goal that you're missing out on the beauty and the people right in front of you? What kind of memories are you creating right now in this very moment? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.